That one you did for Courtney, man, looks really solid. Like, really
Thank you.
solid. I've tried drawing her characters before, and I feel like I kind of did okay, but I don't color or anything, as you know. But the one that you did there, it's like that looks just like her characters, her thing. But I know I said that, but you really nailed it. Yeah, it looked good.
Thank you.
Yeah, man. All right. Time to get my inking supplies going. D-Man has shown up immediately.
Just getting myself set up here a little bit better. Am I loud enough? I haven't. I'm hoping it's going to be loud enough because I have no idea if I can turn my mic up.
I mean, to me, you sound just as good as anyone else who's ever been on here. Like, sounds the same. D-Man,
Cool.
Massive Panda. Hey, can you guys hear our other guy, Gayton? Someone saying here. Can you guys hear him all right?
Do I need to do the testing? Testing one.
Testing. D-Man seems to think that you sound very much like my brother.
Oh no, they're onto us.
That's funny. All right. Panda says we both sound good to him, so.
I don't know if you, did you hear that alarm?
What's that?
My phone alarm was going off.
Oh.
it was telling me, hey, the stream should be starting.
She's like, get ready. There's a thing about to happen. Like, oh yes, it is. All righty.
Right. What to draw? As you can see, I'm very prepared for this.
That's all right. Doesn't need to be much preparation. We sit down, we chat, we doodle, whatever the heck. It all works.
I will just doodle for now until I come up with something to draw.
All right.
I'll take suggestions from people.
Tell them what to draw, guys. Unfortunately, I don't allow myself that freedom right now because I know I keep saying it. I've said it 100 times. Like, I got to finish this damn book. So I'm like, I always know what I'm doing. So it kind of makes it easy for me. There's never any question.
You've always got a thing to work on.
Yes, that is exactly right. Yeah, there's been times when I wasn't pushing hard on the deadline where like Jessica and I would sit down and she'd be like, "What are you working on now?" And I'm like, I don't know. I'll just start doodling something." But now it's like, nope, got to do this.
You got to remember, I got to keep in the center of my monitor for you guys.
Yeah, there's always a little bit of a kind of figure out how to do the thing. Like the camera, the little holders always kind of like sitting right in your way sometimes. It's kind of frustrating to work around it.
Right.
I guess by this point I've kind of gotten used to it. Like kind of sitting off center of my drawing surface, but yeah, I guess it's worth it.
Yeah, this is going to be new for me because normally I'll look up from my drawing tablet to my monitor for a bigger view. Now I got the phone there pointing at the monitor.
Right. It's a really nice gestural sketch you got there. Is that something you just kind of come up with on your own?
Yeah, I'm just kind of winging it here until I can figure out what I'm doing. Went to my go-to Spider-Man pose.
Hey, that's nothing wrong with that. That always works. Spider-Man's one of those characters that's it's like it's fun to do, but I'm always trying to push that weird pose, and it's hard to get it to look right. I always feel like I'm screwing it up. I don't feel like I've
Right.
really drawn Spider-Man really correctly. It's kind of tricky. Notorious non-racist 21. I'll always give a good chuckle at that username. Um, says you like the metallic hand on the bottom right. I'm talking about this big one down here. Because it's bottom left on mine. I wonder if it's flipped on everyone else's. Am I seeing that right?
You're right-handed, aren't you?
I'm right-handed. Yeah.
Okay. Well, you're flipped correctly for us.
Okay.
So it's the bottom left panel that you're drawing on.
Yeah. He's like, okay, all right, yeah. He just, yeah. It's the first time I've tried drawing this liquid metal weapon that this character has, where I'm inking it myself because I let Chuck do it on the digital inks on the one of the pages he did, and he really nailed it in a way I was not expecting, and so it really kind of like informed how I want this thing to look. And now I'm like, oh, I got to try and approximate something similar, but doing digital inks like he does, you can get all these layers and all these um details that he just it's like it's not like you couldn't do it by hand, but it would be so much harder doing the look that he pulled off by hand than being able to have all those multiple layers and do all this digital detail. It was once I saw it, I'm like, oh god, this is what it's going to have to look like, and I'm going to have to try and approximate that. But I guess I come up with something close enough. What program do you use?
I use Krita. It's a open source.
Right. And is it just on your on a computer?
Yeah, I'm on a Dell PC,
Okay,
Alienware.
gotcha. Not like a drawing pad or something like that. That's what my brother. Everything he does is on his iPad or whatever.
Right. Well, yeah. I suppose I should specify that I'm currently on my PC. I do use a iPad Pro occasionally. I like to do my sketching on there.
Right. Chuckley says, "Do you need a powerful PC to draw digital art?"
I don't think so. I mean, it helps. It definitely helps, but it's not really a requirement so much. Um, when you're going really large, uh, the better, the more memory you have, and everything will definitely benefit. How much, how high a resolution can go.
Oh yeah, that makes sense. Excuse me.
I mean, nowadays, they've got things pretty streamlined in terms of this kind of thing.
Have you ever watched any of those Todd McFarlane drawing where he's doing some quick sketches and that big giant digital screen thing that he uses?
No, I haven't. Does he stream?
He just on like his Instagram I've seen where he'll jump on there and somebody's I it looks like somebody's like holding his phone and just kind of like recording him, and they're kind of walking around as he draws, but he's got this massive um like it feels like, I mean, I can't really show it, but in my mind's eye, I could be have it wrong, but like the size of my entire drawing table here, it feels like that's the size of the drawing digital surface, this giant screen. Just this massive screen where he's just physically drawing right on top of on that thing with whatever program he's using. And it looks it looks really fun to have this giant surface.
Yeah, he might have a Syntec. There's some type of a drawing board. I mean, they're essentially like the size of your desk. They're crazy big.
Right.
Um, I certainly do not have one of those. They're very
I
expensive.
couldn't imagine what that was cost.
Yeah, I would imagine drawing on that thing would be uh, heaven for a digital artist.
Yeah. And I like his work, even digitally. I mean, you've heard me, like, I kind of prefer everything kind of done by hand, but um, he can make his work look, in a way, if he's really trying, it seems like it doesn't necessarily look digital. I mean, there's some little telltale signs, but I've always thought that if I ever want to try to learn to do digital, that would be the ideal situation outside of the fact that I could never ever afford something like that. Chuck Lee says, "Yeah, it's a Wacom Cintiq." That makes sense. Giant thing. It's huge, and I think a funny like learning curve would be like to understand like I can zoom in way, way, way close on this stuff, but you don't need to, because if you get too crazy on your zoom in detail, you're going to lose all of it when it's finally printed.
Yeah, that's I've been trying to work on that, to be honest. Like I have a tendency to be like, oh, I'm working on the face. I'm gonna get in really far like this, and I'm like, wait, I gotta zoom out and kind of look
Right.
at where I'm at. Um, and if it looks like I'm not doing anything, uh, let me know because chances are I'm probably off focus on where my phone's recording on my screen. And you're just missing what I'm drawing.
Chuck says it's probably a 32-inch Wacom Cintiq. I don't think they make them that big anymore. Oh, so they make them huge like that, but then you don't think they make them that big anymore? Chuck Lee, that'd be interesting. Like that they used to make them and now they don't. I guess maybe it's just a matter of ain't no one buying them, but
Yeah, it could be supply and demand.
that'd be frustrating if you owned one because you've got the money to spend and you're like, all right, I spilled coffee on my last one and it fried. I need a new one, and now you can't get one. It's one of those things I've always kind of thought about. Like my brother does his digital work, and like he's just got his iPad, but it's like everything he does, and I mean everything, is just on that thing. If he drops it, he cracks it. He's like he's at a standstill, can't move forward until you buy a new one. And I'm like, yeah, all I need is paper, and off I go.
Well, I assume he's got his documents going on the cloud, right?
I don't know. I don't know if I'd. I would hope he would. I honestly don't know. I should actually ask him. He'd probably be like, "What? What's that mean?"
Of course, I mean you need to have a program that could open the whatever files he's working in.
Yeah. But yeah, I mean, I'm sure he's probably got his stuff saved, but just like I guess mostly the my point is that until you have to go spend that money again to get a new device, you're kind of stuck. I don't know. That's just me projecting. Just trying to justify why I only do handmade stuff. Okay, Comic says Jitsu's head is Austin powering Beastman. You mean covering up his little tiny Beastman here? You are right. It's true. D-Man wants me to do the McFarlane voice. I don't have the McFarlane voice in me right at the moment. It it kind of comes and goes, and I don't think I've got it in me right now. On occasion, I'll throw that out there on my stupid videos. He always gets a good laugh at it. Callie Art says you want to join. Well, if you're saying you want to join the live stream, the problem is that I can only do one person at a time. I don't have whatever it's called, StreamYard.
Yeah, I have no idea how that works. So,
Yeah.
like, I suppose from what I understand, you can like switch between people on the fly.
I've watched guys do live streams on YouTube and using that, and I've seen people have like I don't know up to 5, 6, 7 people at one time, and the guy who's kind of running everything can switch back and forth and focus on one person, and you can have text boxes and all kinds of stuff. It looks like a really neat setup. I just if I have to have that, I have to probably run it off a computer, and I've only got my roommate's kind of sort of functioning laptop. So I haven't really pushed hard to figure it out because I don't really have any way to run it. If I can't do it off my phone, then I can't do it. So
Yeah, I'm pretty sure you need to have you need a PC for that. I would
yeah,
imagine.
that is on my to-do list. I mean, I've got money saved up. I could go buy one, but I'm really trying to not spend that money until I really really need to.
Yeah, that's understandable.
So all right. Kelly Art said, "Yeah, I know, and I'm sad, but you guys are amazing." Well, that's very much appreciated.
I'm I'm struggling with this. This is what happens when you don't properly plan. Struggling to find my anatomy in here.
Yeah, Spider-Man's one of those characters that really kind of tests you. Like, oh, you want to draw a guy folded in half all the time? All right, let's see what you got. Yeah. I'm going to be switching back and forth from a couple different pages here. So, what time is it where you're at? I know we've probably asked this before, but I'm just kind of curious as the time difference.
8 after 9.
Oh, so nine. So you're 2 hours later than me.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
trailing.
Well, thanks for being willing to jump on here and give it a shot. I know we've been talking about it for a long time, and I'm always harping on you, like, "Come on, man, when are we gonna do it?"
Oh yeah. Well, like I said, I was willing. It was a matter of ability. I had to
Yeah,
get the something to hold the phone up. So I'm used to, if I was going to do a stream, I'm used to just going straight from the computer.
yeah,
Uh, so I'm
yeah.
surprised, like YouTube, like I mean, YouTube being as big as it is. I mean, it's part of Google now, even, right? So you'd think that they'd have something in place that makes that easier. Apparently not.
Right. Keeping it pretty basic. I don't know. I don't understand their logic. So Courtney really liked that drawing you did, though, right? She seemed to be pretty excited about it.
Yeah, I think she did, from what I've read. So
Yeah,
that made me a little happy. You know,
yeah. How long did that piece take you?
uh,
Like roughly speaking.
I don't know. Maybe I honestly I don't know. I don't keep track of things well.
No, I get
Let's
it.
see
You're like,
here.
I don't know. I was working
Uh,
off and on.
I wonder if I can't tell from the. So this was 8/17. So it's about 4 hours.
Say about 4 hours.
No, no, I'm looking at. I'm checking the different times on my files here.
Oh yeah.
'Cause these are different days, right? It's the same day. Because I paused at some point
Yeah.
and then started coloring. I don't know, maybe 6 hours ish.
Yeah. Sounds about right.
On and off. Like it's hard to tell. Like I start something and then I put it aside for a while and then I'll come back to it.
Yeah. Well, it didn't seem like there was a. I don't know. I don't know how much of a amount of time passed from somebody suggesting that. I mean, if it was her or whatever that suggested that the challenge, the weekly challenge thing, be her draw it in your style thing. It didn't seem like there was a huge amount of time from whoever suggested that and everyone kind of agreeing on it, and then suddenly you like boom, you had a thing.
Yeah, when I'm inspired, I can belt something out pretty quick.
Yeah,
um,
yeah, I get you there. I hear that.
and I think a lot of people who've seen my work know it's kind of in my lane.
Yeah. Chuck Lee's asking if this is the black costume Spider-Man.
No, I wasn't planning on it. It was going to be the basic red and blue, the one I'm used to from my childhood.
Just got to get all that anatomy and stuff down before we start filling in spider webs on.
Yeah, those.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks for reminding me that I got to put all those webs in now. Oh no.
Yeah.
On second thought, maybe I'm making my own costume.
Right.
It'll just be flat colors.
There you go. I thought you were going to be like, actually, maybe it will be the black costume. I'll be able to draw that one a lot quicker.
Right? Yeah, color fill, no problem.
spot some blacks here, and then off it goes. I feel like, unless I'm remembering wrong, that there wasn't there. What else have you posted recently on the Discord? Do you? I mean, just if you happen to know off the top of your head, but um, like what did you do for the last drawing thing?
The crow.
They right? Okay, yeah, okay. I was like, I knew there was something, man. That one looked really good too.
This one here.
Yeah, nice and thick.
That was the summertime group draw,
Yeah,
and that
it-
was based off of the group draw before that.
right.
That was this one.
Yeah, really solid, man. That's one of those where I'm like, ugh, I could have got into that. I could have, draw a cute girl in a swimsuit outfit. I could have had fun with that one, but no, I got to be drawing werewolf men slaughtering muscle men
Yeah,
blood. That's
you
what
got to
I got.
go and be all responsible.
I know.
Jeez.
All right, this is some bullshit. I don't know if you saw earlier today, Chuck Gibson. He was inking a Greg Capullo piece.
You know, I saw him start the stream, and I didn't get to watch it, so I'm gonna have to check it out
Yeah,
when it comes out.
I think he only got an hour into it. I think he was talking about that he was sending his camera back that he got because he was thinking that that was the thing that was causing his system to freeze up.
Well, it could be. Like I said, if you know, I mean, he said he was using an $800 computer, right?
Yeah,
I don't know. I
word
don't
that
know
was.
what kind of processing power he's got.
Yeah,
I mean, there's always a chance that it just can't handle the streaming, or it could be that application that came with that. I think it was a Logitech. He said.
yeah, that's what I heard.
Um, I've had mixed results with them, to be honest. I liked their mouse for a long time. I had like the M51 or something like that. But um, you know how companies are. They got to keep quote unquote improving, which means that translates to keep buying our stuff because here's a new version.
Yeah,
Um, and eventually, having gone through a bunch of their drivers to run those mice, eventually it just started giving me a hassle. Like, you know what? I don't need the extra two buttons anymore. I'm going to not gonna deal with that.
yeah. So I think he said that he was sending it back, and so I don't know what he was using, or if I understand correctly, it was just a brief like he just mentioned it on the stream he was doing. I my understanding was that he did send it back, so that's what he wasn't using it. But then again, right in the middle of the stream, it just suddenly died. So it froze up again. But his inking on that, he's because I remember when I was scrolling through Instagram and saw that Capullo posted up this picture of Wolverine, and it was a really nice, clear picture of Wolverine. I was like, oh, I bet Chuck would have fun inking that. Just thought that in the back of my head. And like a couple hours later, he's streaming and he's doing it. And then so I just kind of hit him up. I was like, hey, man,
Right.
I thought you might have fun doing this. He's like, yeah, when I saw this, I had to give it a shot. And it was looking great. I was telling him how much I appreciated that his stuff. It's like he goes out of his way to as much as possible, make it not look obviously digital. It looks still very much by hand, and that he kind of prides himself on that. And I'm like, it looks so damn good, like so professional. Like he could, I don't know if he wants to, but I'm like, this guy could be still digitally inking professionally and be considered one of the greats, if that's something that he wanted to do.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
I mean, he's over here fiddling around with my silly stuff, and I'm trying my best to send him the best stuff I can do. And then he just takes and pumps it up to the next level. But then he's over here inking Capullo, and he just basically got like Wolverine's like one of his arms and all the muscles and hairy textures on it, and then some of his face, and it just looks so damn good. I'm like, oh my gosh, that look like I gotta step up my pencil game. But then I remember I'm not Greg Capullo, so
Yeah, we can only do so much.
right. Chuck Lee says he probably needs a driver update. He actually did mention he went looking for all the kind of current drivers, something to that effect. Like, I think he said that he had looked into that and it still wasn't solving the problem as far as he could tell. I mean, he works digitally, so I'd imagine he's pretty tech smart with what he's working with. Like, he knows what he's doing. I just know it must be frustrating to be like, God damn it, I'm trying to get this thing going here. Then it like at the hour and 10 minute mark, it just freezes up on him.
Right, like he's probably just getting into his flow,
Right. Yeah.
and it's got to go and give him trouble.
D-Man says Capullo was better on X-Force than Liefeld. I think most people would probably agree with that. Probably. Okay, Comic says, Jesus, D-Man, that was a low bar. Early Capullo was rough. I didn't care for Capullo before X-Force, but once he got on there, I feel like he really kind of started taking off, and like you could see the brilliant artist that was about to emerge from Greg Capullo once he hit X Force. I mean, what a massive opportunity at the time. I think it was his X Force work that got McFarlane to pay attention and then drag him over to Spawn. Yeah, there's still traditional art. He's like, Capullo made me buy X Force. Yeah. I was always getting it. I collected it for quite a while, but yeah, once Capullo came along there, I really liked the story that was going on at the time. And then artistically, it finally started getting strong again. I'm like, all right, they got me. I'm still hooked. But then I ended up not caring for Capullo's work on Spawn. I just wasn't my thing. I know a lot of people like it, but wasn't my favorite because it just felt like a
He,
sort of
he's
McFarlane vibe.
he's got kind of like a caricature look. Like,
Yes. Yeah.
um,
Yeah. Agreed.
which it's not that I don't necessarily dislike that or not, but I thought it was good. I was reading at that time. Um,
Yeah.
what I liked about that though is it's easy to tell who's who. Like you know the different characters when you look at them because of
True.
that. It's easy to differentiate them.
It's a good point. D-Man says, dude, a 12-year-old is better than Layfeld on that comic. And then Chuck Lee says, Rob, you should have drawn more like when you were 12 years old if you wanted to draw like Greg Capullo. Maybe. I should have been probably putting in more effort at a younger age than I did, because some of those guys are fantastic. Like I've said, I was a late bloomer to the drawing thing, so I kind of feel like I missed some years of practice.
Yeah.
I didn't
When
really
did you
start.
start again?
Um, when I was like 13.
Yeah. See, that's about the time I started. You know, I've told you before. I grew up in a small town, like up in the hills,
Right.
up in Massachusetts, and there was very few people that shared uh, a passion for drawing and comics and all that in general. So I didn't have a lot of people to bounce ideas off of, and so like one friend I had seen, he drew a picture on his history book. I was just like, holy crap! It was kind of like an awakening. I'm like, wait a minute, wait a minute, wait a minute. You're saying we can draw stuff like this? Like I didn't know we could do this. So I started, I hopped onto that right away, uh, and it was awful.
Well, we're all terrible when we start.
Yeah, yeah. Uh, but it never occurred to me, that once I got into high school, and I was around that age, it never occurred to me that the people that were drawing the books I was reading were around that age too.
Right.
I didn't know that. Like, I was just like, "What do you mean, Rob Liefeld's?" He said, "How old?" I was like, no.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was like, "Damn it!" Like, I'm way behind. Way behind.
Well, for me, it seems like everyone I know that likes to do artwork was like always doing artsy stuff, even when they were a little kid. And like Jessica says that all the time. She was always fiddling around with art supplies and stuff, even as a really, really young kid. And that's what I'm saying is that was never me. I didn't just didn't do anything like that. And so I was always like, there's always the other person in school who could draw. I'm like, that's the artistic person. It's not me. It'd be awesome to be the artistic person. But then one day, to kind of go on to Chuck Lee's question here, he says, what was the first comic that got you wanting to draw comics where it was like, I got to copy this? And so to kind of add to that is, I've said this before, but when the original Ninja Turtles movie came out, I bought the soundtrack on cassette tape, and there was a sticker that was inside that cassette tape, and it had the turtles standing back to back, facing off on the roof of a building, facing off against I almost called them the Foot Clan. And for some reason, I just sat down because I was so into the turtles, especially that movie. I just copied that. I just sat down with a piece of lined like notebook paper and just kind of copied the turtle standing back to back, and it actually came out pretty good. And I was like, "Can I draw? I think I can draw." And from there, it was like nonstop. So I was picking up I started grabbing all my X-Men comics that Jim Lee had been doing, and just started like copying from him, and then Liefeld and stuff like that, and McFarlane. I was just right at that perfect age. So for me, it was a Ninja Turtle thing that pushed me to learn to kind of draw. What did you have? Did you have anything like that at all?
Uh, it was definitely the Conan magazines.
Yeah.
Like, like, yeah, it was definitely the Savage Sword of Conan.
Oh yeah.
I can. like I remember the issue. I was walking into we have up there at the time there was a chain of grocery stores called Edwards, and they had like one of those magazine racks, and it was just sitting there. I picked it up and I was just like, "This thing is awesome." He was just dicing through a bunch of pirates and stuff. I was like, "This is amazing. I got to get this thing." Um, and like that was like the highlight. Like you know every 2 weeks I'd go there looking for that the other next issue, or every month or so, whenever they would get the new ones in.
Yeah.
uh you couldn't you couldn't order them, I don't think. uh so I was reading those when I saw my friend there um draw that on his book. And that's really what did it. Was it's just like, wait, you're drawing the stuff that I'm reading. I want to be able to draw that stuff.
Yeah. That
uh,
makes sense. I kind of keep waiting for my boy to run into something like that just sparks something like, Dad, this is, I love this thing. Just have them just get that like me when I like to draw, and I discovered comics, and I mean I had been reading comics for a while before I even started discovering that I could draw. And then once I like to draw, I'm like, oh, I've got this whole wealth of things that I could just draw from. Let me draw Wolverine by Jim Lee. I'm going to do that. And so I keep wondering if my boys, or when they'll kind of see something similar that just sparks their interest and they just jump all over it. I'm kind of anxiously awaiting for that moment.
do you think it'll come? Like, sometimes I wonder. It's like, if you don't have that moment where it's just something that kind of triggers you.
Yeah.
Like, I wonder if does it ever happen, kind of a thing.
Right. Yeah.
Because
I mean,
like, out of all my friends, I only had about two of them that were interested in drawing, and only one of them was taking it serious at all. And then he dropped out of it. So uh,
yeah. Well, I know that they've both got like creative drive and interest, and they both like to sit down and doodle and draw. And I know that they see Daddy doing this stuff, so I'm just kind of hoping that it might skip them both. Maybe they won't be into it, but I'm just kind of hoping that one day something will click on them, and I can be like, let me show you the ways, son. Let me guide you through this, whatever it is that you love.
right, that's it exactly. It's just like get them interested in some aspect of it.
Yeah. See, Chuck Lee says my first comic um, released. Okay, he worded this weird. A drawing was a D&D dice game book of DC Universe, and the cover has Batman on it. Yeah, sometimes it's just running into just one thing that just for some reason you just go, oh my god, and then it sticks with you forever. But of course, I'm old enough to have come from an era where the amount of varied like entertainment options that were available to us were very limited. And my boys, being 9 and almost 12, they got so much nonsense trying to occupy their attention. Um, it's kind of hard to keep them from. I don't know. It's like I feel like I might have to start shielding. Like I don't let them do. They don't do social media or anything like that, but I don't want them to either. So trying to like trying to keep them sane, from not going nuts from too much exposure to digital devices.
Right.
which is like a legitimate concern.
I can understand that. At the same time, though, and I'll go back to this a dozen times over. Is being in that small town, I'll tell you, I would have killed to have the internet back then. I mean, just to be able to have that, you know, a quick connection to see what other people were doing.
Yeah,
Because if I wanted to see anything interesting art wise, I had to travel, upward of 45 minutes.
right.
If I wanted to go to the mall, to the nearest comic shop at that time, that's it, man. It was an hour drive, and I wasn't driving. I had to find somebody to drive
Yeah,
because
yeah,
I was too young to drive. Uh, art stores, forget it, man. That's an hour and 20 minutes away. There's no art
yeah,
stores. Like
yeah.
Michael's wasn't a thing. Like, I mean,
Yeah,
actually, now that I think about it, the internet wasn't even a thing at that point.
right.
I wish it were a thing at that point, so that I could, like I said, have those quick access to just resources
Yeah,
and people that are talking about the same things.
yeah. That's totally valid. I grew up in a very small town, and I want my kids to be able to function normally without having to have their faces stuck in a phone watching YouTube. And if they can kind of show me that they can kind of make that balance, then yeah, I'll let you guys do that. But like, I want them to like go outside and develop their imagination and their like learning how to exist in life skills, kind of like kids of my generation were forced to do, rather than like, I'm just going to be inside and watch, Minecraft videos on YouTube for 10 hours straight. Let's see. Therian Community says, "Oh my God, wow! I'm an artist too, but I can't draw stuff like that. But I'm practicing. Well, good job. That's the key. Is just practice. Just keep working at it, and eventually you'll start seeing results that you're looking for. It just, unfortunately, I think everyone knows, if you're an artist, there's no real like, there's no speedy way around practice. Like, you can't skip the part of just learning how to do the thing. So, um, OK Comic says, show your kids a Tim Vigil book. It will blow their mind. Yeah, yeah. I'll let them get a few more years on them before I expose them to that kind of awesomeness, but I will when they're like grown ass adults. Their mom would kill me. Callie Art says, what is nip you use? If you're asking what nib I'm using, this is a Hunt 107. It's a much more rigid inking tip. There's the 102s are the ones that comic artists normally use. It's a lot more flexibility in it. But this is a 107. It's a lot more rigid and stiffer. But it's kind of approaching end of life. It doesn't have much life left in it, but it's flexing really well, so I can get some nice line weights out of it. So I'm just kind of using it up until it dies for good, kind of like my ex-wife did to me.
Dang, dude.
That was a bad joke. I was just seeing if
It's a
anyone was
shot.
gonna.
Your kids don't watch these, do they?
No, they don't. Yeah, they don't give a shit, and I would never say that in front of them. But my intrusive thoughts took over, and I'm like, oh, I gotta say that. That would be funny. I'd laugh.
Spider-Man's webs, the bane of existence.
Right. And my problem is The only version of Spider-Man's webs that for me are acceptable to draw are the ones that McFarlane did, as far as the webs that he would shoot. That spaghetti webbing, which is like noodles wrapped in noodles. I mean,
Yeah.
it's like a huge pain in the ass, but to me, that's what they look like. That's what they are. And so I'm like, ugh, I have to do it that way, which is why you don't see me draw Spider-Man very much.
Yeah, I was actually referring to his costume. Like getting these things to arc around his bodies sometimes perplexing.
Yeah. Okay, Comics says someone's saying it's 4 stripes up, 3 down.
3 down. 3 down.
I don't know. Steel Traditional Art says I hate drawing Spider-Man costume. One wrong line over his form and it becomes a pain. I mean that's true. If you I feel like it'd
So
be easy to get a
the
line wrong in his webbing, and then it just all looks weird.
the thing is, it seems to be different for every artist. I, if you look at let's see, I'm gonna copy this. Um,
Throwing down some references to show us.
so okay, so this is 3 up. This one's 3 up. This guy's got 4 both, and that was what I was going with. It's now. I know if I looked at McFarlane's, it's going to be completely different because he used like microscopic lines on on his.
Yeah.
Like they were super close.
Chuckley says that's what's so funny about how to draw comics the Marvel way. It doesn't really show you how to draw a Spider-Man costume, at least in detail. Yeah, they more focused on here's how to draw a figure, and then here's how to do some storytelling. As far as Spider-Man's costume, they're probably like, just go look at some Ramita stuff and figure it out from there.
Good luck, kids.
Right? Man, I poured over that book when I first got it years ago. I was like, oh, this is the holy grail. Must have this. And then to this day, there's still like things that I still kind of took from that book that I still do.
You're talking to How to Draw the Marvel way?
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. I still got mine somewhere
Yeah.
buried.
Buried.
Yeah, I figure at some point most people just wing this.
Probably. I would imagine artists start finding like little shortcuts. So you can, like, you know what? I don't need to. I'll just black out this. There'll be some shadowing or cross hatching or something just to hide, XYZ portion of it or something like that, just to get through the damn thing.
Right? I mean, I don't know whose bright idea it was to add all this webbing to a character that they have to draw so often.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, in I think most people's opinions, Spider-Man's like literally the epitome of perfect costume design.
Oh yeah, it looks great.
Yeah. Like there's not really any way to change it up. And no changes that people have attempted in subsequent years, like changing up the pattern of where the blue and the red meet. Like none of it has ever been better than the original design. It's like it's flawless just as it is. And if somebody wants to change it up for a minute, you're always going to go back to the original design. Okay, Comic says, now you got it, someone saying. Classic Romita Spidey.
Yeah, we're getting there.
You have won his approval. Oh, holy shit. Excuse me. I think I'm finally getting over this cold.
You see, I always end up adding details where they shouldn't go, and you're going to put lines in. So I got to go back and erase these little hatch marks here. Otherwise, it'll get in the way.
Chuck Lee says, I'm really surprised they never made more books. They probably needed at least 4 more How to Draw Marvel books. That would have been kind of nice, you know, because what was it? John Buscema, right? I think was the guy who was the artist in that one. It'd be
Yeah,
interesting if
yeah.
they would have done some more and just brought on some other artists just to, I don't know, just vary it up. But they probably figured once was enough. The Chops ask, what kind of a pen are you using? Again, if you're talking to me, I'm using a Hunt 107 is what this is. Dipping it in. That's what I'm using, and then someone saying over here is doing everything digitally.
Yeah, I doubt that question was my direction.
They're like, no, that's not for these current panels that I'm on. I have to draw He-Man's figure and get all of that kind of figured out. But then once I'm done, then I have to go back over it and draw like a bunch of blood and cuts all over his body. So it's kind of like, I don't know. I'm like, I feel like, oh, I kind of nailed a little bit of this anatomy right here, but now I got to cover it up with a bunch of blood splatter because he's getting just shredded by Beastman here. So it's like adding a whole new layer of gore that I don't usually do. Okay, Comic says, can you imagine if they had an updated How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way with Lee, McFarlane, and Liefeld? Or better yet, Stephen Platt? Ha ha ha. Oh my god, that would have been I would that would have been worth it.
I'm imagining a Liefeld how to draw a book.
There are those videos. I'm trying to remember what they're called. These like I can't even remember what the name is. Where like Stan Lee's there with. There's one where he's got Lee, Liefeld, and McFarlane, and they all do some talking about how to do art and how they do what they do, and they're all drawing live, giving their instructions. And Will's Portasio is there too. It's pretty fun, you know. There's a lot of interesting stuff that they talk about there.
So there's a video. I'm gonna check that out. I'm gonna look for that.
I used to have it on VHS, but they're all on, online somewhere. Where Stanley's just talking. I mean, I think Liefeld and they were all working for Marvel, so it was right at the peak of X Force's height of popularity, and McFarlane on Spider Man, Jim Lee on X Men. So it's pretty fun. Okay, Comic says that's where they collectively designed Overt Kill. You're right. Yeah, that character that showed up in Spawn, they kind of designed it up there, and then McFarlane, whatever, took and threw it into Spawn later. It was kind of fun. Um, Mikey says the YouTube channel 90s Comic Book Nerd has them uploaded. So, yeah, they're out there to be able to be seen. Massive Panda says, How to Draw Comics the Marvel Way, starring Joe Madureira. Step 1, be insanely talented. Step 2, don't turn anything in on time. Oh, brutal. I don't know.
I can handle the second part.
Right, yeah, like that I can do. I feel like I could be wrong, but like when he was working for Marvel and doing X-Men, I feel like he was turning work in pretty regularly. I don't remember the books being really late. Um, Once he ran off to go do Battle Chasers, then yeah, because he had all the money in the world and all the interest in video games. So yeah, I don't know. I feel like he can pump it out if he kind of has to. Which that's not saying that's I think everyone knows that, but he just has to be invested in it. And once he got to Battle Chasers and he had money, it's like I can be interested in whatever the hell I want, and I don't have to be interested in comics anymore. Yeah, okay. Comic says both Joe Matt and Keown were very reliable when they had an editor. Yeah, that's yeah. I feel like they, when they had those good paying gigs and getting recognition, they were churning out stuff pretty regularly. It seems. Then they
Maybe
get what's that?
Is Bagley still drawing?
Mark Bagley?
Yeah.
You know, I don't know. I mean, I know he's still alive, but I bet you he's so financially well off at this point with like residuals from books he's drawn because he's done so much stuff. He's probably old enough that he doesn't want the monthly grind anymore, and he's financially well off that he doesn't need to worry about it. If I had to guess, that's all complete conjecture on my part, but I don't think he's a young man.
I keep going off the page here. Nobody can see what I'm doing. Oops. So what I'm going to do here is try to. Let's see. All right. So right there. And so that's my window. That is a tiny window. Okay. I am not going to be able to keep in that. Let's see. I need some post-it notes so I can put them on my drawing tablet and mark off where I'll be drawing.
Yeah. Jeez.
See, this is what I'm talking about right here.
What's that?
This, so like I had put these muscle definitions in, but now they kind of get in the way when you're putting in the webbing. So I'm
Yeah.
wondering if I should even.
I've ran into that, and I think that's one of those things you probably have to kind of figure out drawing Spider-Man. Where the few times I've drawn him, like you try to draw this anatomical detail, and then the webbings kind of clash with what you're doing. So I think that's one of those things that requires like a balance of figuring out how to make that work. I just got a message from Jessica. She'd taken her son to go see one of her older sons to go see the Planet of the Apes movie. She just
Oh
met.
yeah, what you think?
She said it was a pretty good movie. I'm like, well, that's awesome. I said, I'm doing a live stream with Gaten right now. She's like, what? So she might jump in here. I bet we might hear it stop in here real quick just to give a quick like howdy doody.
She's like, that can't be.
Okay, Comic says Bagley was one of the main Marvel workhorses until recently. Last thing I remember him doing was Champions with Kamala Khan and Teenage Cyclops. Man, yeah. I mean, I've stopped collecting so many modern comics anyway. Bagley was awesome. He is awesome. It took me a while to appreciate him.
He was one of my favorites.
Yeah. When I was younger, I kind of confused him and Eric Larson's work somehow when I first started seeing a
The,
lot of stuff.
yeah, shape wise, like forms, very much alike.
Yeah.
Not so much on the finishing, but shape. Like if you look at the body shapes and everything, um, I can definitely see what you're saying
Yeah.
about that.
I was young and I wasn't looking to identify artists at that point. I just kind of thought they were the same guy, and then at some point I started like, oh, these are two different dudes. And then I didn't care for Bagley's stuff, but I did start collecting Ultimate Spider-Man just based on the popularity everyone was saying that it had. And I really got into his work. He was very consistent and the storytelling was nice and clear. And I was really into it. And then from there, I was like, well, this guy's really good. I really like him. Steel Traditional Art says adding muscle detail to the blue areas of the costume on Spider-Man is a good technique. I've seen that. Yeah. That's where you can kind of add all those big chunky muscular shapes and then just can almost just from there just do the outline of the form on the red parts and then have the webs kind of follow the form. As long as you got the webs kind of wrapping around the body, then it works. Hey, look, there's Jessica. Didn't I just say I bet you she shows up here for half a second?
You
Jessica,
did say that.
I just mentioned to everybody that I just texted you and told you that we're doing a live, and I was like, I bet you she shows up here for like half a second or something, and then boom. You are so predictable, Jessica. She's like, don't pretend like you know me. All right.
I
Some
don't know a thing.
feel exactly right.
Going and watching good movies.
Yeah, so Jessica, the movie was good. You did your son enjoy it? Is the most important part. I've only because she took him to see the Planet of the Apes movie. I've only ever seen the first of the new series of them. And
They were. I don't know. I was pretty happy with the ones I've seen.
I've heard everyone say they're really good. Everyone seems to hype them up. So I'm not objected to seeing them. I just kind of, I don't know, I saw the first one, then kind of missed every other subsequent one.
I saw the first and the second one at least. Hey, I'm kind of. I don't remember if I saw the third one or not.
I wonder how many movies they can milk out of that franchise. What are there, four now of the newer ones? Something like that?
I honestly don't know. They're starting to become like Jurassic Park to me.
Jessica says they're planning on making nine. Are you serious?
9.
Are
Okay.
there nine movie stories to tell in the Planet of the Apes universe? Because I don't know how many times I can watch monkeys running around murdering humans or whatever the hell they do. I don't even know.
I don't think they all murder humans anymore. I think some of them are good. Well, there was always a couple of them that were good, right?
Yeah,
Even in the originals.
fuck, I don't know. I've still never even seen the original.
Oh, what?
I
Get out of
know.
town.
I know. I get a lot of the stuff I get exposed to as a kid. has to do with what my parents were interested and would get and plop in front of us. And I don't think they gave a shit about it. So therefore I never watched it. And then I'm aware enough of the basic story that I don't feel a need to go and check it out. Yeah. Yeah, D-Man, talk about oversaturation. I mean, that's exactly it. Like, but I mean, if they're all doing well and people are into them, but I don't know how you make 9 movies of that same concept. I mean, how quickly did like the Transformer movies die out? We all got so sick of Michael Bay's nonsense.
I was done with them after the first movie for
Were
that.
you really? I actually really liked the first one.
Oh, I liked the first one, yeah,
Yeah.
but that like it was like great story told. After that, it was just like I'm just watching big things smashing other big things at this point.
That is completely accurate. 100%. And I had to give it to them. Like the special effects in those Transformer movies, I felt like were always absolute first rate. But
Yeah, yeah. You know, my a good friend of mine that I grew up with did work on all of those.
oh wow.
Yeah, he does digital stuff, all the like the texturing and everything on their 3D work, and yeah, yeah he's pretty good.
Yeah. I saw some video clip recently that was comparing footage from the first Transformers movie, which is how long ago was that? 2006? And then like something from one of the lesser Marvel movies today. And they're like, look how good the effects were, you know, almost 2 decades ago. And then look at the shit that they're crapping out. And you're like, that's what got me thinking about it. I'm like, we can all hate on the not the ridiculous story of the trend, like there was no story. It was just machine fight machine. But as far as those effects, man, they really put everything into it.
Yeah, yeah. I think it has a lot to do with automation. Uh, you know, at those times, a lot of stuff they had to do by hand. Like it's a lot like art and AI right now. You know, there a lot of that stuff is before. If you wanted to do a certain effect, you had to put work into it to get that effect out. So they put care into it.
Right.
Uh, Now it's like, oh, I can just go into Blender and here's this pre-made thing. I could just hit the button and it'll render it like water. So there's water. It's like, well, yeah, 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 it does look like water, but it doesn't look like great water. like, uh, and but they don't need to do great, right? Like that's you know, they're in it to get it done, and that's what they do.
Yeah. Yeah. You can tell most of the time when somebody, even if the movie's got shit story, but like if somebody's put an effort to make the effects really pop and work, and like you can feel, I think often the creative care that some people can put into it. Chuck Lee says Transformers is good if you just want to watch action movies, but if you are a Transformers 80s cartoon fan, you won't like it. Yeah, that's unfortunately true too. Even that last one they did, the Beast Wars one, which I had hopes for, I still feel like they screwed that one up because I'm a big fan of the Beast Wars show that was on back in the day. That was a really good show. And they just fucked everything there up.
I did not watch that one. The
Yeah.
the last one I saw was the one with Bumblebee in it. it was Bumblebee and what's her name there?
Just Bumblebee.
Yeah,
Yeah.
with
No, that one was actually good. That because they scaled.
yeah, I liked that one.
Yeah,
I was like, hey, this is all right. I
yeah.
like,
The actress Haley Steinfeld.
yeah,
Um,
yeah, that's her. That's the one I was thinking of.
where it was just one Bumblebee, good guy, and then like two bad guy Decepticons after him, and that was for the most part that was it, except for the opening scene, which had like all the classic Transformer designs. I'm like, make that movie.
Just these lines aren't doing it for me.
Massive Panda says it's like those old Southern grandmas who can taste food and just tell that it was made with love. Yeah. Jessica says her kids loved Beast Wars. She fell asleep. Yeah, I took my kids to see that Beast Wars movie, and they loved it. They didn't know anything. It was just giant robots punching giant robots, so they enjoyed it.
Well, yeah, I mean, for what it is, it's it's great. Yeah, like I said, I really liked the first one, but I got what I needed from the first one. I didn't need to see the others because the others were just like, here's the first one again.
Yeah, and I get that, but for me, I'm like, oh, they did one really good. Do another one really good. Let's keep going. Let's follow these characters. But then you learn really quickly that it's not very often where you get
They had no
what
interest in
you wanted.
characterization.
Yeah, yeah. I feel like there's some movies that had good multiple sequels, like Star Trek. I'm a big fan of that. Star Wars died a very fast death once George Lucas sold it off to Disney.
Could have been great.
Could have
Wasn't
been.
wasn't
It was
wasn't
not.
so great.
They just keep pushing so hard to put more and more Star Wars everything. I know I keep saying that, but I'm like, I kind of hate Star Wars now. Like it hasn't ruined my love of the originals. Those will always be there, but they're a little bit tainted because of just connected to all the other bullshit that I've seen. It kind of helps. It makes me think about the newer stuff that they've done. But if I just forget about all of that and just be like, no, no, just enjoy these perfect little trilogy movies, this perfect little part of your childhood, and just pretend all this new Disney shit doesn't exist, then it's okay.
Right. Yeah.
It's like stupid Disney.
I really the thing is I really wanted to like those, um, and it's not that I don't. I find in some level of enjoyment in watching them. Like I'll go back to watch them.
Which ones? I'm sorry.
The ones with Ray and Kylo Ren, and
Oh, okay. Yeah.
so I liked the prequels. Those were fine. Jar Jar, I just kind of ignore. um, for the most part, they were all right. The new ones with Disney though, I don't know. They what they were thinking with those stories.
I don't think that they were
Do
thinking.
something. You know what it is? It's like do something new. Like you should. Like I get it. You're trying to get the audience to be like, hey, this is what we've been looking forward to. We want to see more of what we've been missing out on from the past. Oh, my phone's about to die. Give me a
Oh,
second to plug that in.
You got a power source to plug it into. Yeah. Drains the battery pretty quickly. Yeah, Chuck Lee says they disrespected Luke Skywalker too much for my taste. I am completely in agreement with that. Um, it infuriates me to this day. It's like some of these people who make these movies seem to miss the point that a lot of us, most of us, grew up with these characters, and in a way, this might sound dumb, but they're kind of like old friends we used to know as kids. You know, Luke Skywalker and Indiana Jones and the Ghostbusters, and you just spend so much time with these characters that you want to see them. And all we wanted to see was Luke, Han, and Leia together and do something, but they just fucked it up, made Luke a complete loser. I hated that they just ruined it so much. I can't stand it. So I get kind of passionate about it. Like when they take a legacy character and fuck it up.
All right. I think it's charging. I don't want to mess with the screen too much. But yeah, like I don't know. To me, you're watching the new ones from Disney, and it's kind of so we're gonna do the exact same story as before, but with this other character, and this character doesn't have to train whatsoever. Apparently, that just bothered me. There was no training involved.
Yeah, I can't stand it. And I'm part of me's like, I get kind of sick of lightsabers. I mean, it's like the coolest sci-fi weapon ever, but when everybody has one all the time, it kind of loses its magic. Like in the original movies, it was probably a pain in the ass to do those lightsaber sound or special effects. So I feel like they probably were limited in how often they could do it. So they would save it for like these magical moments. But now it's like everyone's got one all the time, all over the place, and I don't fucking care anymore.
Yeah, yeah, no, I get it. It's like okay, we get it. You got sabers. You don't need to use them every 2 seconds. Make it a meaningful fight.
Yes. I mean, I'll be honest. I actually did enjoy the Mandalorian seasons 1 and 2. I actually got a lot of enjoyment out of that. I never did bother with season 3, and from what I've heard, I feel like I haven't missed anything. But I actually thought the Mandalorian was pretty good because it was such a basic, stripped down version of Star Wars. Like it's just this one guy doing stuff. It's not Jedi's. It's not the Force all the time. Just like this loner cowboy kind of character, and I was into it. I kind of enjoyed it.
I haven't seen any of those things because I don't have Disney Plus,
Oh yeah,
and
I've
I'm like I don't really I don't know. I didn't have a an urge to run out and get it for that.
yeah. No, I found the Mandalorian pretty. I mean, I was also there's all that Baby Yoda, and everyone was all about this. Just the most adorable merchandising opportunity. But
Yeah, let me
I,
get a window sticker with them, right?
yeah, but I'm like, I was into it. This cute little, this little alien creature, and they brought back Luke Skywalker in the timeline. It's just a few years after the end of Return of the Jedi, for just like one pivotal scene, and I'm like, That was Luke Skywalker. That's the version of him we've wanted to see all these years. They finally did it right. So I was into it. I was kind of okay with it. But then I avoided season 3 and I heard it was terrible. And so I don't know. And I think they're making a movie of it. I think they're making a Mandalorian movie.
They're making a movie of it.
I,
Is there that much story to tell?
I think so.
Chuckley, yeah, I seen it. It was pretty good, I thought, because they did
But
something different. It wasn't just more of the same. I mean, it is, but it was different enough to keep my interest more so than a lot of the other ones that had come out.
yeah, I enjoyed it. Prey, that was pretty good. I feel like they stretched a little bit with this chick being able to defeat a predator with an axe, rope, and stuff like that. But I not so much that it ruined it for me. I'm like, all right, yeah, it's fair. I'll take it.
But she didn't really, though, right? She used his weapons against him.
Yeah, she outthought him, and that I can get. That's fine.
That Yeah, that part I was like, okay, good, because like if you killed it with a rock or something, I was going to be pretty
It's like, yeah, if
disappointed.
Schwarzenegger can't beat this guy to death, then neither is this cute little girl. But I was like, okay. And I kind of liked the actress. I felt like she had some presence and charisma. Um, Amber Mid Thunder, I think her name was. Never heard of her before, and haven't seen anything with her since. But I felt like she was. I think they chose a good lead actress for that role. I think they did good.
Yeah, I thought so.
I think they're supposed to be working on some follow up to that that's supposed to be set. God, I want to say they said in World War II.
To Prey.
Yeah, I think. I mean, I'm not saying that as a for sure, but it's like, all right, I guess. I mean, I could see a predator showing up in World War II when there's a lot of conflict and a lot of things to kill. So,
Yeah, I'd watch it.
yeah,
Um, just to see. It's like, okay, well, let's see what you're going to do now. Is it going to succeed, or are you going to be a flop for me? like, are you going to do another Transformers 2 for me?
yeah,
But I mean, it might work. I mean, it's not like I didn't watch Transformers and the sequels. It's just I didn't care for them as much as I liked the first one,
yeah, yeah,
and I didn't go back for seconds. It was just like, okay, well, I
right,
saw it. I'm done
yeah,
with that one now.
got
Wait
everything.
until you get the third one out.
Yeah, I don't think I never did see the last Michael Bay one. I think I saw the one with the Dinobots, and I was kind of like, all right, I'm done. I can't spend 3.5 hours in the theater expecting to see the Dinobots show up, and they show up for the last like 5 minutes of the movie. and they're just a giant robot dinosaurs. Like they're nothing like the Dinobots even close, except they're robot dinosaurs. That's all. They're not even the right thing. So yeah, I was done. Okay. I think I might have actually finished this page. I think I did. Means I can move on to the next one. Okay, Comics says the second Transformer movie went too hard into goofiness with geriatric robot farts and wrecking ball testicles. I actually,
Oh my gosh, yeah, like that. I was just like, what in the world am I looking at?
you know, honestly, I laughed at the giant wrecking ball testicles on that version of Devastator. I don't know. I don't know why that one didn't really. It just seemed like a silly gag, and I get why people don't like it, but I just I had a good laugh at it. I'm like, all right. I mean, they got to go somewhere. They got to transform, and those wrecking balls got to go somewhere. So I guess he's got giant steel nuts.
I mean, yeah, I don't know. It took me by surprise, and I don't know. It didn't win me over.
No. The the things I thought were really bad were the little twin robot guys that seemed like they were, I don't know.
They were a little stylized. Uh, yeah, I didn't know where they were going with that
I
either.
felt like they were leading into a little bit of like a kind of like a racist stereotype with them. I'm like, oh, this is
Yeah, I was a little worried there'd be some some people upset about it, but I guess not. Was it were there people upset about it?
yeah,
Oh, there were. Oh,
oh
okay.
yeah, because they were like racist stereotypes of like these dummies that couldn't read. You know, I'm like,
Okay, but that could be anybody.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, but yeah, that's what I was worried about when I saw them. I was kind of like, oh, okay, I don't know if these guys are gonna win the crowd over.
I mean, they said a couple of jokes that I actually laughed at, like real subtle, like just behind this, like in the background, little things that they'd said. I'm, oh, that was funny, but they made him so stupid.
Yeah, yeah.
Let's see. D Man's like, of course they were black because stereotypes are cool, kids.
Super, super cool.
But yeah, the one line that one of them said, like there was this one of the human characters, not Sam Witwicky, Shia LaBeouf, and not super hot Megan Fox, but this other dude that tagged along with them. And he said something about him being scared about going on this mission. And in the background, you hear one of those robot whatever guys, you just hear him kind of quietly say, "That's because you a bitch." I was like, okay, you got me. Like,
Yeah,
I chuckled.
yeah,
Or maybe it was that's because you're a pussy. One of those things. Now I can't even remember exactly what the line was, but it was something to that effect. And I laughed. I'm like, okay,
yeah. I mean, it's not that some of the stuff wasn't funny. It's just obviously they were playing with fire in some regard.
And then I think in Transformers 3, you have Optimus Prime like gleefully, joyfully executing his former mentor, like putting his foot to his like head and blowing his head off, and he's like, "I win!" Boom, blows his head off. You're like, you know, the Optimus Prime that I know is basically like Superman, just this super strong, like pillar of virtue and kindness and strength, and can be strong when he needs to be. And this is like, now he's just another murderous robot. I'm like, oh my god, way to fuck up a character. I didn't like the Mark Wahlberg Transformer movies either. I saw, yeah, I think just the one. So stupid. I mean, I don't mind Mark Wahlberg at all, actually, but
Yeah, I'm trying to remember if I've seen all of them. I saw the first one with him, and that what is that? The girl from the horrible Avatar movie, the last Airbender movie.
oh, is she in one of the transfer? I only seen bits and pieces of the horrible Avatar movie, so I wouldn't know.
Yeah, she was Katara, I think.
Who was she in the Transformer movie? Was she like Wahlberg's daughter?
Yeah, and that one was okay. But again, it's it's once I saw it, I saw it. I was like, well, I'm done seeing that again. Like,
Yeah,
I don't need to ever watch it again. Um, where like there'll never be a time where the Matrix is on TV where I won't stop to watch it.
oh yeah.
And it's like, why can't more of these be done correctly? Not like the one that was done horribly. That fourth one of that was not
That was terrible.
not, not good. It could have been like the ideas were sound. I just don't. It just didn't ring true. Like something about it was off.
Yeah, I wanted it to be good so bad. I was so excited to go back to the Matrix world, and I thought the ideas were. I'm like, what? We're seeing video footage of the previous movies. The characters don't look the same. And then, if I remember correctly, even Neo wasn't the important one anymore. It was his girlfriend that was the important one. I'm like, why can't the hero just stay the hero? I
Well, it
don't.
was together. I mean, yeah, she was the one that was more Neo-ish, but there it was something about being together that mattered.
Yeah,
It, you know what it was about the fourth one for me in that regard was uh, it had been so many years of people kind of building their own mythos into it.
sure.
Like, this is how I think it should go if they ever make a new one. That once it happened, it was like, you didn't go with the idea that I thought of, so this is garbage.
Yeah.
And it's not like I had any preconceived notions of it, but it definitely didn't go the direction I thought it would. I mean, he's he's back in they're both back in the Matrix, and they both had no idea of what it was, and it's like, wait, what? Like,
I feel like they kind of undid everything that happened in the first one.
yeah, it did. It was a complete reset in that regard.
The Animatrix. Did you ever watch those?
Yeah, yeah, those were pretty good.
Those were pretty damn good. Yeah, especially the one. It was like the longer two-parter one that explained how the machines rose to power. Um,
Right. Yeah, like how like one of them just flipped out because it was pouring like tea and stuff, and it got irritated.
well,
It's just
yeah, it
like
was like
I'm
these
done
machines
with this
developed.
crap.
Yeah, it developed consciousness and ended up killing a human. So they put it on trial and executed it, and then all the machines kind of collectively were like, "All
Yeah.
right, we're not going to be slaves anymore." And then they got their to be their own individual nation. Then they got to be too powerful. They even tried to reach out and be peaceful to humans, and humans rejected it. So then the robots were like, "All right, well, we'll just kill you all."
Yeah, it's like we tried to be nice, but screw you guys.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Massive Panda is like the Renaissance. I think you're right. Parts one and two. That animation and some of those war scenes, like there was the scenes in I think part two where they're doing their final battle. Like this is it, and it's just this horrible. Like they scorched the sky, and it's just such a well animated. It was horrifying. Like this is the last stand of humanity, and we are not winning. In fact, we're going to lose terribly. And that was an amazing piece of storytelling. Yeah. I felt like it's they finally did a thing where they showed a backstory. I don't think was necessary, but they did it so well. It's like um, exactly correct. I'm like, okay, okay, that's what happened. I will accept that. Yeah, the second Renaissance, part one and two. And it just said that's right. Yeah, God, I might go watch those after I get off here. I'm kind of like I want to watch those now.
The itch.
And then there was there was all those different ones. There was the one where the guy was like a runner,
Yeah,
and
that one I liked a lot. Where he like out he outpaced the Matrix being able to keep up with him.
okay, thank you, because that I'm like, is that what it's supposed to mean? Like he was able to race metaphorically or really faster than the Matrix, so he could outrun it, or so. I was
That
about to ask
that's
if
that's
that's
how
what.
I understood it.
Yeah,
Whether that's accurate or not, I don't know. But that's what I felt was the case, where he was just so in focus on the race that when he started running, he just blew. His mind was going so fast in his focus on trying to run fast. He actually outpaced the speed that the processor or that system could keep up with,
yeah,
and he ran himself out of the matrix
yeah.
essentially.
Yeah, that's how I interpret it. I thought that was brilliant. It's so like there's these weird one-offs in that Matrix world where these things like this happen, and he was that's just that weird scenario for him. So okay, you validate me there, Gayton. Yeah,
All right,
I appreciate that.
I did my part. All right.
You did, you did. I also like the one where it was the kid that was in high school and he's skateboarding around. The animation was really well. There's some really good music in it, and it ends with him killing himself. But that freed him from the Matrix, which I think could be a dangerous message. Like if you kill yourself, kids, that's not what they meant. But I'm thinking like
Yeah, I don't remember
today,
that one.
if
I
they
don't,
did that today, people are like they're trying to suggest that if you kill yourself, you could free yourself. I'm like, no, that's not what they're getting at.
yeah, definitely don't do that. Do the racing one. Outrun the matrix. Don't eat a bullet to do it.
Yeah. But yeah, that one was. In fact, there's some music in that one with the kid, the teenage kid that's running around at school, that I have on my own private YouTube playlist that I'll play periodically. It's just this awesome beat, and I'm like, this is so good. I love it so much. It really did. And then what's funny is that character, that kid, was in the movie. in the second and third one, I think. I don't know if you made that connection.
I'm sorry. Say that again.
That in the Animatrix, the kid that killed himself, he was in the movies.
Was he?
You remember when they
Or
got?
was that the one that gave Neo the spoon?
No, no. In the it might have been only the third movie, but when they get to Zion, and then there's that kid that ends up getting to. He had to like help reload the mech suits, and he had to like rush out there and crank up the ammo into the mech suits when they're fighting
Yeah,
off.
that's the one I'm thinking of. I'm sorry, I probably confused it when I said gave him the spoon. I
Yeah.
didn't mean the one that showed him how to bend it, but
Oh, okay. Yeah.
he gives that kid the spoon, and he has to pass that message on to Neo. He's like, he handed the spoon to him.
Okay.
He
Yeah.
said he knew it would have what it would mean or something. He knew what it would mean.
Yeah. I thought that was kind of an interesting thing to like. Oh, if you watch that Animatrix, you know who this kid is. So I remember going into that movie. I'm like, I watched the part with this guy. I know who this kid is. It doesn't affect anything, but at least you know. And then there, somebody else was mentioning there's that one like the samurai kind of ninja one that was this girl, I think, fighting her trainer, her master, and he was trying to like test her by saying that they should, I don't know, leave and join the robots or something to that effect. But it was just a test. I think it was done by the Ninja Scroll animator.
Yeah, yeah, I kind of remember something to that effect.
Yeah.
Uh, I mean, it's been years since I've ever actually watched those. So now you got me wondering if I should go. I have them right here. I have the thing right over there.
Yeah, I like that one with the samurai girl, but it's not the one that I kind of go back to that much. And I don't know why, because it's really good, but it was less relevant to the overall story. Oh, Steven Giannis is saying he was her lover, not her Okay, all right, yeah. Well, that goes to show you. I only seen it like a couple of times, so I don't remember all the details. But either way, really, really well done. And then there was that black and white, like kind of like noir one, some detective or something like that. Who was chasing down Trinity, I think.
Yeah, see, I don't remember that one either.
Really? Yeah,
Yeah,
black and white.
it's been a long time.
Sure. Yeah, I get you. Yeah, it was like a noir kind of detective story, searching out something, and I think he was chasing down Trinity, and I think he ends up running into her at the end, right before he dies. Pretty well done. But yeah, that being said, all those. I mean, I still like. Everyone loves the original Matrix movie, and then people are kind of so on the sequels. I actually like the sequels just fine. I still, if I watch one, I'm watching all three, and then the animation. But I was so excited for that fourth one. I'm like, I watched it once. I'm like, nope, never watching it again.
Yeah, never need to see that again.
Nope, because they did that one. Keanu Reeves reprises that role, fucks it up, and then he goes and does the Bill and Ted, and I feel like he fucked that one up too.
Yeah, the I mean, it wasn't terrible. It just wasn't great either.
I mean, part of me feels like I might need to watch it again just to give it another shot. But my problem again was that Bill and Ted were the heroes. They were the ones who saved the universe through music, which is a ridiculous but kind of beautiful, flowery, hippie concept, right? And
Right.
then they're like, no, it wasn't you. It was never you. It was your children. It was your daughters. It's just your kids. I'm like, look, I'm all about
Yeah.
my kids being the saviors of the world and them being amazing, but why can't the characters be the heroes that they were always built up to be? Why can't the two dudes be the actual heroes? So it's like they did the same thing in the Matrix, and then they did it in Bill and Ted. They're like, no, you're not actually the savior; it's someone else. And I get, but I'm like, just can we have our heroes just be the heroes?
Yeah. Yeah. That's one thing I don't understand why they have to do that with everything nowadays. Is just deplete the characters for who they are so that others can shine. It's like, come up with a story that makes those characters cool too in their own right.
Yeah, just I think the idea is so like in that first Bill and Ted. It was kind of a silly movie. It's kind of like a I don't want to say it's a dumb movie. I don't mean that in like a negative way, but it's just kind of this brain dead stone. Like I get the gag. Like these stoner idiot high schooler dropout losers somehow are going to bring peace and harmony to the world and make it possible for Earth to contact life forms in outer space and bring peace to the planet. And it's because they create music that just unifies everybody. I'm like, that would never work. That's why it's a beautiful story and it works. Why can't we just stay with that? So I was like, oh, I'm cheesed off. I'm kind of mad. So I'm like, I don't need to watch it again. But part of me is like, all right, did I miss anything? Am I just being cynical?
I don't think so. I don't think you missed anything. Not, I'm trying to think of something that you could have missed.
But
Seems about accurate.
you basically pulled from it what I did.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, there was just no reason.
Chuckley asked, what program are you using right now?
Oh, I am using Krita. I think the latest version. I haven't gone over there to check to see if they've released anything new yet. It is a an open source program, so you can download it for free, but they do accept donations, which I have done in the past for them because uh, for for a paid program, this thing is well done. So being free of cost, they deserve some money for their efforts.
That's interesting. I wonder how they kind of like financially survive and make a really good viable program and then make it free. Like how do you I mean I appreciate
They
it, but how
they
do
do it
you
through donations, as far as I know. That's what I've seen.
yeah. Wow.
And when you do something right, people, you know, they'll meet you.
That's fair. Yeah, I agree. Okay, okay. Comic says someone saying I would strongly suggest you just project those buildings down instead of trying to draw the street. I haven't been watching what you're doing, so I don't even know what's going on. I'd see some cool looking boxes, but
Yeah, I'm just working on the roof here.
yeah.
This was just going to be an alley. I'm going to put a dumpster here, and that'll be the end of that.
Oh,
Some
okay.
trash.
All right. Awesome. Yeah, the perspective tools on those things are. There's often times where I'm like, oh God, I wish I had.
Yeah, it's well, it could be a bane as well, because it's working to track which line you're using. So sometimes it can get confused on
Right.
which line you want,
Oh yeah, I see what you're saying.
and but I've discovered, because the developers or Krita were, you know I don't know if they understood that, but you can actually go in here and just tell them, oh, this one's picking up this line here, so you can just kind of hide it and then make the line you need, and then unhide that line or that vanishing point, and get it to lock onto it again later.
D Man says Taika Waititi says, "I'll ruin all your heroes, baby." Yeah, I didn't care for that last Thor movie too much. I didn't hate it, but I was certainly like, well, that happened.
Actually, I'm doing this the hard way, aren't I? Yeah.
Are you doing it the hard way?
Well, in terms of digital, yeah, I kind of am, because I can just extend these lines all the way across these things on their own layer, and then just erase the part I don't want. Of course, it doesn't look as natural, but yeah, when it's just the background.
Stephen Yana says, "I live in New York City. Spider-Man would never come to the Lower East Side buildings. Buildings too short. Nowhere to swing from."
Yeah, I think that was a gag in one of those, wasn't it?
Yeah, yeah.
Where he runs out of he runs out of places he can attach to.
So he just has to like run. I think it's funny when I've seen some artists, they'll draw Spider-Man and they clearly like reference, like traced a city shot that was taken from an airplane. So you're like, I don't know how 8,000 feet in the air, and then Spider-Man's swinging from his webs. I'm like, what is his web attached? Because we're seeing the tops of every skyscraper. He's clearly webbed onto an airplane or something.
Right? Yeah, yeah. It's like he hooks onto a cloud, apparently.
Yeah, I'm like, okay. I know McFarlane's done that at least once.
I mean, technically, he could be doing it here, but we can't see what he's looking at. So
Yeah,
the Empire State Building could be in front of him for all we know.
you go. Yeah, see. Well, I might need to, here in about 10 minutes or so, shut this down. I got to do stuff before it gets too late. As usual, I got to record something for tomorrow. Got to get the channel ready.
Right, right.
If I'm doing things right, I try to get them all kind of recorded on a Sunday, but just sometimes I don't have the energy for it. I'm like, if I can either do it now or I can be doing them one by one throughout the week. And I'd much rather just have them all done and loaded up and I can just do anything else except worry about the channel. But
sometimes my Sundays just get away from me, and I'm like, all right. Guess I'll make it harder for myself this week.
Oh, heck. Look at that. Horrible, horrible tangent. Always a tangent. Maybe I can fudge it. Go a little higher than I'm supposed to. Oh, okay. So I meant to ask you this when we were talking about the Matrix. Have you seen Ex Machina?
No, isn't that the kind of like the robot girl
Yeah.
thing? I saw the trailers for it. It looked really good. I've just never seen it pop up anywhere that I've noticed where it was streaming where I could watch it.
Yeah, that's a good movie. At
It
least I think
looked
so.
good.
I was going to bring it up because it comes into play with, well, I don't know if I want to give anything away. I won't say anything on it. I'll just say it's good.
Chuck Lee has to go. He said his battery's at 5%. He's about to shut down. Yeah, it's time to go.
Later, Chuck.
So it's about 11 o'clock where you're at, right?
Yep.
You're back east, right?
Yeah, I'm in North Carolina.
North Carolina, right? Okay, yeah. North Carolina. I'm gonna be glad when I'm done with this scene because all my characters, they ran off to go save a baby, right? But now I have to keep drawing them like running around with this baby in their arms. I'm like, I'm getting sick of drawing this shit. Gotta get these characters back and hand it back to the parents so they can get back to the battle.
Right.
Sick of drawing this goddamn kid. And I'm not putting a lot of detail on it. It's just like this little oval shape of a head, and then it's wrapped up like a burrito in a blanket, like you do with children. So it's not like it's crazy hard, but I'm still sick of it.
Understandable.
You made any progress on your breaking down your story for that concept you were working on? Still cooking?
Well, kind of, but not entirely. I'm still questioning on whether it's a viable character, to be honest.
No.
Like I feel like I could probably get the stories done. I'm just wondering if it's too weird of a character. I know you said you kind of liked the designs I had shown you.
Oh yeah.
Concept wise, I think it's something neat, but when I put it in perspective of, you know, is it a character that'll carry interest for everybody long enough to, keep them coming back for more? I'm not sure.
Yeah.
Um, not that would matter, because it's not like I'd be doing this with the intention of being like, oh, this thing's gonna see a ton of prints and stuff. It was just something I want to do and say, here's the thing I've done.
Yep, I get you.
I do have another idea though, which I might play with just for something that can be done quickly and be like, uh, just I'll have pages that I can show people and be like, okay, so here's my work. Maybe I'll get something out of that, or somebody would be like, draw my stuff. All right, I can do that.
Excuse me. Steven Yana says, why don't you use layers and duplicate the same shapes and slide them over?
Huh? Use layers and duplicate the same shapes. In what regards? Like the trash bags and stuff? I just saw Mr. Demons. Yeah, I like a lot of movies. I watch a lot of movies.
Well, I think I need to wrap up here.
All right.
Myself. Gonna do some stuff. So, hey man, thanks for coming on. I know we've been talking about it for a long time.
Yeah. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. I mean, we can
Hopefully
definitely.
I was entertaining enough to want back at some point in the future.
Yeah.
If not,
No,
it was fun while it lasted.
No, we should definitely do it again. Yeah, we absolutely
Cool.
can. I want to get Mark on sometime if he ever has the interest. But yeah, it was good times. I've been wanting to do that for a while, and now it's one of those things. One of the bucket list things I can mark off. Did this?
Yep, it happened.
It happened. Okay.
I wonder how many people got motion sick watching me flipping my screen around. I'm sure you must have heard me smacking my keyboard, as I do.
Peculiar Comic says it sucks to have to limit your comic ideas because it might be too weird for some people to come back to because that's how the medium evolves. I mean, maybe the weird idea is exactly what's needed.
I mean, yeah. I mean, who knows? Like, I might belt out, an issue of it and just kind of throw it out there and see what people think about it and see. But time's a factor. It's like,
Yeah.
I don't want to put a whole lot of work into something where it's not gonna evolve into something that's at least interesting to a number of people.
Right.
It'd be horrible if it happens and it's like zero interest whatsoever.
Peculiar Comic says you should go for it. I agree. Go for it.
Like I said, I do have an idea for this other thing where it could work. I'm gonna work on something. One way or the other, something's gonna happen.
Yeah,
It's just which one am I gonna land
you're
on?
right. You're like, I'm going to make something.
Yeah, it's not like I've done like I did that group comic page there, so
Yeah.
it's not like I can't do something. It's definitely just me saying, okay, that's the one I'm gonna go with.
Right. Well, I think you could be pretty good at it. So I'm excited to see whatever it is you eventually decide to work on. It's nice to have a work in your hands, like that thing Mark did, that big giant upsetting book that he sent me.
Yeah,
That
that was crazy too. He said that was his first one. I was like, what?
holy crap! Yeah, for real. I was like, holy Lord, your first work. It was amazing.
But I guess he does storyboards though, right? He said he
I,
storyboards.
I don't.
So
I feel like he's a little bit. I could be wrong, and maybe it's just me, but like a little tight-lipped about some things. I don't know. Like he just doesn't want to share some things. I don't know. I don't know what he does, but he's really good. So
oh yeah, his see you, Steven. Uh, his his uh his angles and compositions are just crazy good.
oh yeah, yeah, absolutely. Anyway, yeah, I'm gonna call it a night for myself, guys. So thank you everyone who's been here, and thank you, Gayton, for joining up again. I really appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
Yeah, we'll do it again.
Okay, cool.
All right,
All right,
man.
bye everybody.
Yep. See you, everybody.